Hello, everybody, and welcome back, and a happy late New Year, I suppose. Tostoday here with Charlie Henson. Charlie is somewhat of an exclusive Apple user, so I've asked Charlie to join me this evening because we have a brand new Apple newbie on the show, myself. Now, I know what Apple is and some of their products, but I've never had one physically. Uploaded two videos so far, my first iPad. You may want to take a look at those two videos first, but as I stated, I've asked Charlie to join me since he knows more about this than I do. I've only played with the product about a week. I like what I see so far with a few gripes. Charlie may guess what those are, but first of all, Charlie, how are you?
I'm doing very well these days. Very well. Thank you for asking. And
Excellent. Yeah,
you doing the same?
I'm doing good. I feel good. It's cold here where I live. I know it's cold where you live, but other than that, I haven't caught any bugs or flu or anything crossed my fingers so far. So I'm feeling good. Yeah.
Good.
Okay, so I uploaded two videos so far. I'm just doing these in quick little parts just to give viewers a taste of what an Android user like myself goes through to learn something new. I've had requests in the past to take a look at Apple products. In fact, one person posted, "Please don't forget us Apple users." I have not. So I bought a refurbished product, and I think Charlie, last year you kind of mentioned just take a look at an Apple refurb because they're just as good as the new ones. So I took your advice. I think that's what you said, if I recall.
Yeah, that's what I told you. I said you could even go to Craigslist and get one.
Okay. Well, I bought an official one through Apple. It does have the normal 1 year warranty, so I figure why not? I have nothing to lose. So, Charlie, I did two quick videos. First was the unboxing, and I gave it a 9.5 out of 10. I did not give it a 10 because I thought for beginners it would have been nice for Apple to stick a little how-to manual. I'm just kind of being picky, but after I did the update, Charlie, I was able to download a free user guide for the Mini. For the second test, just quickly looking at it, what it looks like and what it sounds. I give it a 9.5 out of 10. Now, Charlie, the one I bought does not have the Retina display, which is fine because that's not what I paid for. But that being said, if someone is going to use that product every single day, 7 days a week, Charlie might agree to this. I definitely recommend you get the one with the Retina display. There is a difference you will notice, especially if you're like me, you wear either contacts or glasses. Charlie, does that sound about right?
That's exactly right. I wear glasses myself, and the Retina is tenfold the way you want to go.
Okay. Now I gave it a 9.5, not a 10, not because of the display, because of the speakers. Charlie, the speakers actually sound better, a little bit more crisper in my Tab 3. So I gave the speaker edge sound quality to the Tab. But that being said, so far I like what I see so far. Now you've messed with Apple before, and you've had Apple iPads in the past. What can you tell me about them?
The first thing is an Apple product is made for you to use. They do everything they can to make sure that you just turn it on and you're able to use it. It simply works, and they're great. You mentioned something about the speaker quality. Yeah, the external speaker quality on the Apple iPad is less than par. We know that. However, the sound card that they use is excellent.
Okay.
I've heard mixed reviews. Some people say it's a generic sound card, and some people say that they're secretly behind the scenes still using Texas Instruments as their sound card. I never really know who made it, but when you plug a good set of headphones into that iPad, that thing just rocks.
Ah.
You can get, I believe you can still get it. It's called Boom, Boom, for your iPad, and it's a bass enhancer. It's got an equalizer, all sorts of settings, and you can really tune that thing to sound just extremely well.
I noticed I've been testing it, and I tell you where I use it normally. It's in bed to catch up on the YouTube, stuff, whether it's you or somebody else or whatever. Last night I was actually watching a cool video on the Alien Isolation game. Boy, Charlie, that looks like a cool game, by the way. Anyway, I had to crank up the volume higher than I normally would in my Tab 3. Not that it's bad. It's not. It's very, very good. But maybe that Boom app Maybe I can fine tune it so where I can boost the treble just a notch so I can hear like all the background stuff. But other than that, in the first two ways, the two tests, well, I can't really say the unboxing is a test. So far, Charlie, the Apple iPad, everything works just the way it should out of the box. I haven't quite tested yet all of the apps in the Apple as I normally have them in my Tab 3, but I'm going to take a wild guess that all of the apps in the Apple product are going to work all the time versus say maybe 90 to 5% in my Android tablet. I'm only guessing now, Charlie, but would that be a good guess?
Well, for me, they always have. They really just seem to work. Now, for me, my iPad was mainly used to read comic books,
Oh,
and I read a ton of comic books. So
okay.
the screen for me was absolutely amazing.
Mm,
I just loved it. The an app when you get there's a lot of free apps, a lot of free games that
yeah,
has some
right,
advertising or some in-app purchases and stuff like that.
right.
Most of the time, when you buy an app from the Apple Store with your iPad, it's going to be reasonably priced and it updates fine. Now, every now and then, you're going to get an update that it's not going to work that well, but it's
Okay.
quickly resolved. I can give you some advice.
Yeah.
You could buy your apps from a company called FipLab, FIBLAB, FipLab.
Okay.
They have some of the better tuning, the optimized memory and stuff like that. So
Hmm.
you might want to keep that in mind.
Okay.
And their stuff never fails.
Okay. Um, how often have you used or do you still use your any form of iPad now?
Oh, I don't use my iPad hardly at all anymore. I let my second son, he takes it and he uses it. I been reading all my comic books on my iMac here.
Ah,
It's
okay.
pretty good, and well, he had a better purpose for it than I did, so I let him
Okay.
use it. My daughter has one, and
Okay.
she's a YouTube junkie with the Monster High dolls and the girls and stuff like that, and
Right. Right.
that thing runs 24/7, and oh yeah, the battery life on that thing, mine's amazing. How was yours?
Yeah, so far, I think I'm not sure if I mentioned that in part two, but if I haven't, let me just say now, battery life is very good, on par of my tab, Samsung tab, if not better. Performance, Charlie, this is where I was surprised. It's only has, I believe, if I'm correct, it only has 512 megabytes of RAM. That's not a lot, but it runs actually a little smoother than my Tab 3. Now they're both dual cores, but the Tab I think has a gig of RAM, and I was expecting the Tab to run faster, but they're either the same or slightly better. In fact, to be perfectly honest, the performance, the smoothness is actually a little bit better on the iPad mini. I was a little bit surprised there, but I guess that's normal.
Oh, absolutely. What do you think about the video quality on that?
It's good. Like I said, it's not a Retina display, but it's very good, on par with my Samsung Tab. I mean, these are not neither tablet is a higher resolution, screen. But being a non-Retina display, it's perfectly fine and acceptable because it's not Retina. It's probably not something I would use 7 days a week, to be quite honest. But it's perfectly fine. Yeah, the display is perfectly fine. It's perfectly acceptable. I like it. I was kind of wishing it was the Retina display, but I wanted to test, I guess, for lack of a better term, the standard Apple Mini as close to in specs as my Tab 3 so that I would have something to compare it to. If I had got the Retina one, well, that would not be a fair comparison to the Tab 3 because it would not be the same type of resolution. So, I'm trying to be fair in my grading of this, as it were, from an Android user like myself. But so far, I'm giving the edge performance-wise to the iPad mini. In terms of user friendliness, and we'll talk about this in a moment, that's a whole different ballgame. But so far, I like it very good. I normally use my tablets, whether it's the tab or the mini, in bed. Some nights I want to catch up on videos. I have a hard time falling asleep. I'll just turn on my tab or my mini for about an hour. I tend to get tired, then I fall asleep. So it's almost like a sleeping aid as it were. So the size, well, the mini is what, a 7.9 inch. The tab is a 7 inch. Not that much in difference, but both can handle, my hand with the case on. They both work fine, but so far performance wise in general, minus the speakers, I'll give the edge to the iPad mini.
You talked about the 512 megabytes of RAM. Now, I agree. Apple iPad does an amazing job using its RAM.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I've often wondered. They take iOS 8 and they put it on iPad, and they get this amazing performance out of the RAM.
Yeah.
I wish they would do that with the MacBook and the iMac, because the RAM, they eat up RAM.
So it's not the same. Okay.
No, it's not. I wish they would model that ideology from the iPad.
Okay. Well, what could I say? I don't have Apple computers yet. I can only tell you about what I have physically, and I'm impressed by the iPad. But I had a feeling even before you said something, it probably was not going to be the same type of performance as you would see in an iPad versus your iMac or whatever else you have. But I can only speak with what I have. So far, I am impressed.
Now, the information gathering that you've been doing, have you came across any related information on the iPad Pro?
No, I have not. What's that all about?
Well, from what I read about a month ago, is sometime this year they're supposed to introduce what's called the iPad Pro.
Oh.
And that's basically all I got. It was a rumored,
Okay.
and you can go to macrumors.com and you can read all the upcoming releases. But that's supposed to be happening.
Oh.
Another Apple secret weapon.
The iPad Pro. So as opposed to what I'm using now is the iPad what? I mean, what do you want to call it? But you know what? This marketing of products, companies are always trying to one up what they had before, and I guess that's to be expected. It sounds like the Pro is going to have maybe more RAM, I would imagine, a faster processor.
I expect it to come with a keyboard.
Maybe a keyboard. More, well, as the name implies, more professional features. More apps by default for professional content creators like ourselves or writers. I mean, I don't know, but that's interesting.
That it would be great?
Yeah.
A USB port.
Yes, I have it's somewhat dated, Charlie, but I have a Toshiba Thrive 10-inch, big, heavy monster beast, but it works great. It's got all the ports you want, USB, HDMI, SD card, it's loaded. I don't use it as much. That's what I usually use when I go outside for coffee. But that one, in terms of loaded features, that's got all the ports you would ever want, user replaceable battery, which is great, user friendly. Well, speaking of user friendly, Charlie, so far, relatively speaking, the iPad mini is not user friendly in terms of what I can do with my Tab 3. We talked about this briefly. I cannot for the life of me hook this up to my Ubuntu or Linux Smith machines. I tried workarounds, tried this, tried terminal. Nothing works, but I guess that's to be expected. I kind of had a feeling it would not work. Have you ever had any luck hooking up an Apple product to Linux?
Never. I've heard of guys having workarounds where they read it as an external hard drive.
Yeah.
And I've never been able to do that
Okay.
at all. So
Okay.
they're locked down. I mean, that's a device that's got padlocks on it everywhere.
Yeah.
Like the USB port. They're not going to give you one because they don't want you watching movies or listening to music off a flash drive. They want you to rent the movie or they want you to buy the music. It's that simple.
Yeah. That one was somewhat annoying, but not unexpected. I mean, look, I've been doing this 5 years. I know how the game is played. That didn't really throw me off as much, Charlie, as the other thing, and that's what that was. iCloud storage, is it 2 gigs, 3 gigs, 5 gigs? How much do they give you now? I kind of lost track.
I never used it.
Okay.
That's one of the features that I never indulged in. Now I use OneNote or OneDrive from Microsoft and Dropbox, and that's it. I don't need anything else. So
Okay.
I never do it.
Trying to think what it said on the iPad. I think it's 5 gigs. Someone will correct me if I'm wrong, but that's besides the point. What I was trying to get at, it's free online storage. I'm like, okay, well, let me sign up. I went to my computer, signed up. I uploaded some files to the iCloud. Free storage. I mean, it's free. Why not use it, right? I went to my iPad mini. Okay, now where is the iCloud app? Where I went to the store. There is no iCloud app. There is no official, none that I could see. Now, I am still new to this, but so far, there is no official iCloud app. I'm like, WTF, this is an Apple product with iCloud with no iCloud app.
Ain't that built into iTunes, though?
Well, I mean, you can turn the iCloud backing up feature on or off, but I mean an app, a separate app, a separate what folder? Well, this is what I want. Let me clarify this. I wanted to download my files from my online storage to my iPad mini. I couldn't do it. At least there was no official app. Now there was some third-party stuff that was not official. Anyway, maybe I did something wrong, but shouldn't there be an official default shortcut application on the main screen for iCloud, or am I just blowing this out of proportion?
No, I don't think so. They're pretty proud of their iCloud. You hear them talk about it all the time.
Okay.
And since I never had the opportunity to need it or use it, I simply don't know either.
Okay, well, I mean, all I wanted to do was I just wanted to download my files to my iPad and then use it on my iPad rather than forcing to, go back to the web. I couldn't do it. Like I said, I'm still learning this, so, someone who's listening to this, if I missed something, please let me know. Yes, when it comes to the Mini, in terms of all the features, I am still a dummy, a newbie to this. Like, I've been doing Android for years. I got multiple Android stuff and happy with it. But this is more of I'm curious. Is this standard for an iPad Mini? If it is, it seems somewhat non-constructive, but maybe I'm totally wrong. But I couldn't do it. So can't hook up to Linux. There's no default iCloud downloadable app. There's no file manager. I was playing with it the first time, like, and I'm thinking rather, wait a minute, Toss, this is not Android. There is no file. You just can't, drag and drop files from your PC as you would with Android. So in other words, it's not plug and play. So.
Now, my last thought, excuse me, on the iCloud was, it seems like you would absolutely be able to access that from Safari. To go to the iCloud website via Safari and be able to access your files that way. Now, as far as the file manager goes, it's coming back to me now when I wanted to do this.
Okay.
There's an app that you can get, and it might actually be third party. I just can't remember what it's a file manager actually, where you can access your files.
Okay.
And if you download, let's say, a movie via that file manager download.
Okay.
And you can actually stream it and be able to play it with VLC on your iPad, because VLC has an app for iPad, and it'll stream that audio or video file through there. But that file download manager is actually your file manager. Have to check into that. It's coming back to me now because I'm looking into that at one time too.
Okay. Well, I mean, all of this seems more harder than it needs to be, but
ridiculous.
Look, I don't like the user friendliness part. I'm not totally surprised by this, Charlie, and I don't want to knock Apple for the fine product that they have for what it was designed for. For what it was designed for, so far it works perfectly fine. However, being used to Android, and maybe that's not totally fair, Android to me seems a lot more user friendly, but that's strictly from my experience. Someone may disagree, and that's perfectly fine. And see if
iPad.
Yeah.
They started that slogan. There's an app for that, and they're not kidding. And no matter what you want to do, you can darn near find it. The app right there on the App Store. And I think that's what they really want. They don't want you going outside the App Store. They feel confident that anything that anybody in this world needs to get done, they can do on the iPad. And I saw demos, people iPad versus laptop, and the person on the iPad who gets fluent enough in it can be very productive. because there's an app for that, what they need to do. So,
Well, look, tablets in general, they've come a long, long way in terms of what they can do. You can probably even do video editing on the iPad. I downloaded is it called the iMovie app?
yes.
Uh, it installed it. I'm assuming the machine's fast enough to do any kind of video stuff on it. I'm not sure, but if it installed it, it didn't come up with any notification saying, "Hey, your machine's not fast enough to edit a movie." It didn't say that. So maybe that may be one of the features I can test later on, but it did install it, no problem, and there were no pop-ups or notifications saying this may not be fully compatible with my machine. But that's I'm curious because that's resource intensive to use something like the iMovie app, something similar to what would be Linux, maybe Kden Live, something similar in terms of video editing, maybe.
Well, absolutely. That iMovie is real heavy in it, but it's really super good too.
Okay. Well, maybe it's good enough. Okay, I got a feeling if it does work, it's probably not going to run very fast. But look, if it's stable enough, I'll give credit where it's due once I get to it. So
Miss Nixie Pixel does a lot of stuff with her iPad, and she does a tremendous amount of video editing with iMovie.
on the iPad, really?
Yeah, I've seen her do it. Yeah, and some
Huh.
of her videos. Yeah.
Oh, before we finish this up, what's the last thing that you bought from Apple? Was it a desktop, a laptop, or?
Was the iMac desktop?
Okay. Now, I think in the past you said you use both PC and Apple, and you prefer Apple.
Oh, absolutely, hands down.
Okay. Uh, Putting aside the price, which I know there's a big difference, quality in general, is there big difference between, say, a Windows 8.1 machine and the latest Apple iMac? Is there big difference or just enough for you to justify the price of the Apple product?
Oh, there's a big difference. The
Okay.
quality of the workmanship is it's you can't even compare the two. It's apples and oranges, I suppose. It's
Okay.
hands down a lot better. You take the Apple computer itself and the way it's constructed,
Okay.
it's a lot better than, my opinion, the best PC manufacturer out there would probably be Lenovo.
Yeah.
Uh, they're just a better built machine. They're sturdy, they're tough.
Right.
The operating system, I'm on mine hands down. I do a tremendous amount of video editing.
I've noticed that. Yeah.
I have VirtualBox open with 3 or 4 different distros running at the same time,
Okay.
running a video editor in the background,
Okay.
and I have yet to ever crash my Mac or have it freeze up on me ever. Now it sucks the life out of the RAM. That
Yeah.
is probably where PC probably does a better job. It's only in the RAM department, in my opinion. Because
Okay.
these Macs, they eat it up. If you ain't running 8 to 16, you're not getting nothing done.
Okay. The machine you bought, can you expand the RAM or is it locked down?
No, it's locked out. When I
Oh.
bought this one here,
Okay.
you can't do anything. The hard drive in it is actually a PCI.
Okay.
It's not SATA, so you can't. And there's
Mm.
no aftermarket hard drives at this point. Now, CCW, and I can't remember what that stands for. It's an online computer retailer.
Uh-huh.
They claim to have an upgrade kit for the new iMacs if you want to upgrade to a SSD.
Okay.
They may actually have an aftermarket kit now.
All right.
The RAM, it's soldered into the logic board, which would be the motherboard.
Right.
So you're not doing nothing with that. But when you buy one, you better spec it out because you're stuck with it.
Okay. So it sounds like if you have any intention of beefing up your machine, you may want to stick with normal PC Lenovo. I do have Lenovo products, ThinkPads, and they do appear to be better constructive. I've had very good luck over the years with ThinkPads, and they're very good. So that's my opinion there as far as that goes. And you can expand the RAM, of course, if you want to. I've switched out hard drives before on ThinkPads. Not a problem, none whatsoever. So absolutely check that out. All right, Charlie. I think for this podcast, I think you've given me enough information that I need, and hopefully for any possibly potential new, people who want to purchase an iPad Mini or an Apple product. So it sounds like you are perfectly happy with all of your purchases with any Apple product. Is that a fair assumption?
That is a fair assumption. I've never had a problem on any of them. My iPhone, my iPad, the iMacs, the MacBooks, They all just simply work and they don't freeze up, and the quality and workmanship is what I need. I don't want to buy stuff that falls apart. I need my machines to run at minimum 5 years. That's what I need.
Yeah, as far as ThinkPad goes, you can't go wrong. As far as Apple goes, I guess anything from Apple is just fine, right?
That's
So,
right. That's what I think. Now here's something else.
yeah,
When you get tired of your Apple,
yeah,
what do you do with it? Well, you either do one of two things. You throw it in a closet or you sell it.
yes.
Resale value on all of these Apple products is super high, much higher than any type of PC that's out there.
Okay,
As far as a year-old machine, if you need to unload it because you want something else,
right.
you're going to get more on the resale than you will anything else.
I guess that's due to the reputation of the product, right?
That's its name brand.
Okay, and it's quality merchandise, as you stated. So I will buy that assumption. Sure, sure. I think that's all I have, Charlie, for this podcast. If listeners, if you haven't already, please check out Charlie Henson. I believe, Charlie, you usually do Ubuntu stuff still. Yes, right?
Yeah, I have a secondary channel on the side. It's God, I can't even think of the name of it. Really.
Don't ask me. I don't know.
Well, I'm gonna look at it real quick. I know once a month I let's see, how do I even gotta
It's
try to
called
find.
Charlie Secondary Channel. Yes. .com. Yes.
Yeah, I can't even find it right now. It's on YouTube. It's I
I'll
believe
have a
it's.
link below in the show notes for your main channel. They can just go from there.
I'll send it to you.
Okay.
I upload about maybe one every single month, and it's usually some real super
Okay.
awesome info. Actually, I just did a video a few weeks ago on how to remove adware from
Ah,
from your Mac, if in case you ever get it. And
uh,
it's a flawless application. It's absolutely free, and it does a good job. And I'll send that link to you here in
okay.
just a minute.
What? Mac has adware, malware? I'm
Uh,
shocked.
Here's how it works.
Yeah.
It's very difficult for spyware, malware, and adware to run on a Mac as far as getting into the machine. But
Right.
where you have your problem is that browser can get infected.
Ah, okay.
That's where the infections come from. They comes from the browser. Safari's, they
Right.
get it. Google Chrome gets it. Firefox gets it. And actually, Firefox looks amazing on a Mac.
Okay.
But they all get it in the browser, and it will install itself, and you're going to need something to get it out. And that adware medic, it's free,
Okay.
and it does a fantastic job.
It's called Adware Medic.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's.
Okay.
I'm looking at it here, right? Adware medic. Yep.
Interesting. Okay. Well,
Yep.
folks, there you go. If you get adware stuff, definitely check out Adware Medic. Cool. Okay. Let's see. That's all I have for this one, Charlie. So thank you for joining me and giving me some more information for this newbie, at least for my Apple iPad Mini. I'll have some updates. Of course, we talked briefly on what my thoughts are about it, but I will try to be as fair as I can. Again, I'm primarily an Android user. So far, I do like what I see, putting aside the other, user friendliness issues, which I kind of knew about. So far, I do like what I see. For the listeners out there, if you would prefer just to download this, once I upload this, I will upload this podcast to the Internet Archive.org, or maybe it's just archive.org. I've rebranded these podcasts, Charlie, from Toscast Podcast to Tostoday Tech Talk. Internet or archive.org. Search for Tostoday Tech Talk. That'll be me, and I've uploaded some previous podcasts with Infinitely Galactic.
Yeah, I just sent you that Mac Alive address.
Yeah, I just saw that. Cool. Okay.
So,
Yeah, Mac Alive. Duh, that was hard to remember, right?
it took me a minute. I don't know why I was running behind the 8 ball.
Yeah, from Ubuntu Alive to Mac Alive. Well, all this technology, it's hard to keep up. So, yeah.
It is.
All right, Charlie, thank you so much. Keep in touch, and I'll have all the links below in the show notes once I do the editing for this. And as I said, if you guys don't have to watch this whole thing. The downloads, by the way, are free. If you're so inclined, a little donation for all the hard work would be great, but it is not required. Again, that'll be on the internetarchive.org under Tostoday Tech Talk. Charlie, that's all I have for this one. Thank you so much for joining me on this discussion. As always, I will catch all of you sometime in your iPad future. Ciao.